Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest installment of the Google AdSense on Air series. I would say we probably want to wait for another 20 to 30 seconds to allow for people to join the Hangouts. So I'm going to stop talking for a little bit, and then we can jump right in like 20 seconds so that everybody can follow. So yeah, we'll start in 20 seconds. All right, I'll just say, let's just kick it off and get going. So as I said, yeah, welcome to the latest installment of the Google AdSense on Air series. Today, we're going to cover the introduction into AMP, or also called accelerated mobile pages. And just a quick thing about us. So my name is Michael. I've been with Google for 2 years now here in the Dublin office. I am a strategic partner manager for the German market. So basically, I manage German publishers and help them grow and monetize their web pages. And with me is Grigory.
Hello to everyone. My name is Grigory. I'm an account manager from Central Europe and working with larger advertisers. So I'm looking forward to talk to you about AMP today.
Great. All right, let's just kick it off. And just a couple of things before we start really. So yeah, as you all have done, you've registered for this Hangouts on Air. If you want to listen to more Hangouts on Air, there's a couple more coming up this year. One, for example, about PWA, but there's a lot of other content that we want to share with you. So please go ahead and use the top link to register, g.co/AdSense on Air. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming up. So yeah, go ahead and register. If you have any questions about or during this webinar, this Hangouts on Air, you can ask your questions at g.co/AdSense question, or what you can do, you can just in the window where you're just watching right now, you can just use the live chat and just post a question there. We're going to collect them and try to answer as many as we can at the end of this Hangouts on Air. And yeah.
Every opinion is matter. So guys, after the live stream, we will send you a feedback form. Please share your feedback. What do you think about this to make our future events even better? Yep. Thank you very much.
Great. All right, so now let's just jump right into the content. So a few things about the agenda today. So what are we going to cover today? As I said, it's this Hangouts on Air is about accelerated mobile pages. So first, I'm going to focus on the importance of AMP. So basically meaning why should you even bother? Why should that even be on the top of your list? Then Grigory is going to talk about the actual implementation of AMP pages. How can you actually start? And then I'm going to take over again and talk about the monetization aspect of it. So how can you monetize AMP pages? What are the best practices? And how can you use that format for your monetization? And then we're going to talk about what's next to come in terms of both AMP, but also in the upcoming Hangouts on Air. And at the end, we will try to have 10, 15 minutes left for Q&A. To answer as many questions that you might have had during this Hangouts on Air. So let's just jump right in. So why should you even bother? Why do we think, and why does Google think that AMP is actually important? Maybe you've heard of it. It's the principle that Google really uses and utilizes to build all of our products, really. So focus on the user first, and everything else will follow. So this is actually the same principle that AMP is built around. So because AMP, and we'll talk about this in detail, because AMP is so fast and beautiful and focuses on user experience, we believe that it will be the standard in a few years to come, and maybe even sooner. So focus on the user, and everything else will follow. Build beautiful sites. And if you look at the current state of mobile pages, and we asked a lot of users, what do you dislike most about browsing on your mobile device? And by far, the most important answer here is, and the biggest obstacle really is this, the loading the loading time of the web pages. So that's the number one issue that users have with mobile pages by far. So this is something that Google really wants to resolve, and you as publishers should really try to resolve, because that could really set you apart from your competitors as well. If you look at today's performance and how users really see it, 75% of mobile sites take actually longer than 10 seconds to load, which doesn't seem like a long time, but if you are on your mobile device and you want information right away, then it actually is a long time. And if you look at the second statistic, if the page loads, the loading time is above 3 seconds, then more than half of the users actually leave the site. So that's a very high number. So you potentially lose a lot of visitors just simply by having a very slow site. And when it comes to revenue, which is not a very not a topic you should be forgetting here. Basically, if you can make sure that your mobile site is faster or loads at least, let's say, within 5 seconds compared to 19 seconds, you have the chance to actually increase your mobile revenue by 100%. So double it, really, which is insane, which is really an opportunity that should stick with you, and you should make sure to actually capitalize on that. So we want to try and make sure that you and help you actually do that today. So today, if you look at, as I said, at the mobile pages, a lot of these mobile pages don't actually fulfill the needs that users really demand. So what means is that they load very slowly, pages are unresponsive, and sometimes content is even displaced by ads, right? So all of a sudden an ad pops up and then the content is gone and the user does not see what they actually came for to see, right? So this is not an optimal user experience. So what is AMP? AMP, in short, is a library of code, you can say, that makes it really easy for you to build a responsive, fast, and user-friendly website. So if you compare the web pages today, just like from a high level, there's a lot of code on them, which needs to be loaded separately at times, which makes the site really slow, or can potentially make it really slow. And accelerated mobile pages really tackle that issue. If you can see, or as you can see on the right side here, because the code is so slim, and compared to the left side, there's really not a lot of code. The loading is just much faster. Movement on the site is much quicker, and the user experience overall is just way better than compared to traditional mobile web pages. So as I said, AMP is really a library to build nice, fast, and user-friendly websites. But they can also be customized, right? So though you don't have, you can start off, and we're going to talk about this in the implementation piece. You can start off with the library as it is. But you can also customize those websites really beautifully. And I've composed a couple of examples here of The Guardian, of eBay, of CNN, of The Vogue. So those are all AMP pages, and they're very unique. They use some of the library pieces that we provide, or the AMP project page provides. But they have made sure to really customize their sites beautifully. So you can do all that, and you can make it quite nicely and user-friendly. And some more proof if you need any at this point. Just a couple of case studies, also with attached with some numbers that I think are quite interesting. We have WeGo here, which is a flight search engine, and they started using AMP a while ago. And what they saw is actually a quite significant increase in search to conversion rates when it comes to actually booking a flight. So half of 50% increase in search to conversion rates. And 95% increase in partners conversion rates. So not only was the site user-friendly and fast, but it actually translated into actual revenue and user experience. So that ties back into the principle that I mentioned at the beginning, saying that start with the user experience, focus on the user first, and the rest will follow. So this is what WeGo did, and they actually saw it translate into actual numbers. A couple of other examples here, and you can all see these case studies on the actual ampproject.org page, basically illustrating that content publishers saw really great results after they implemented AMP. So we have a couple here. So for example, Terra saw a threefold increase in time spent on the page, which can be really significant if you think about it. If users spend more time on your page, you potentially could, share obviously more content, but you can also just make more money with those users. So a lot of traffic increase. What I think is really interesting, for example, mail.ru saw a 67% increase in new visitors. So that's something that I really want to stress as well, because not only can you, retain the users that you have, but you can actually grow your audience base significantly, simply because the user experience is so good and so fast that users just, once they discover your pages, they actually become loyal users because the site is so great. So this is something you shouldn't really neglect. So yeah, it's really about audience growth. It's about retention. We see the Washington Post case study here, which using AMP helped them to retain a lot of users. Teats is a great example of monetization. A 200% increase in average CTR on the page, meaning clicking not only on ads, but also if you sell something. So the CTR really increases. So start with the user, focus on the user experience. AMP helps you with that, and the rest will really follow. And now Grigori rather is going to talk about the actual implementation of AMP pages. And as I said, just quickly, if you have any questions, go to the live chat, just place a comment there, and we will try to answer as many questions at the end as possible.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, guys, so let's talk about implementation. So as you can see on the slide, technically AMP is built using 3 core components. The combination of these 3 elements yields the super fast AMP experience for users. AMP HTML is a modified version of HTML which ensures speed. AMP JavaScript implements AMP's best performance practices and manages resources loading to ensure that pages render fast. The AMP cache fetches AMP pages and caches them, improving page performance automatically. And AMP cache also validates pages to ensure only correct AMP pages are displayed to users. And finally, AMP HTML doesn't require a large development team and budget, as it builds on existing skill sets most publishers have, or existing framework of sites built on WordPress and other CMS. Just like there are many ways to build a house, create a web page that do similar things. This is shown in the picture in the center. To avoid web developers writing a code, AMP prepared the components with speed inside in mind. All that the developers have to do is to import components with one line as shown on the right, plus use those components. As long as the developers are using the AMP elements, the developers cannot write code that will significantly slow down the page. To put this in an analogy, non-AMP page, as you can see in the center, it's building objects with custom-made pieces. AMP pages like building objects with Lego pieces. The Lego pieces are AMP components, as shown here. Is a website you can visit and play with this one. There are just a handful of components available, but many others coming next. Michael will talk about this later. And when you create a valid AMP web page, remember that Google will cache the page, AMP page, and stores the cached page to different locations around the world, which is closer to user. So this actually enables user visiting the page to retrieve cache web pages closest to their location. Analogy one more time. Instead of going to the actual farm or the ocean to get food, you go to a local supermarket because it's much faster. And if the item can only be collected at a certain location, it will take longer time and making the web page slower. So that's actually what cache doing. Guys, remember, you can have both. You can have, for example, AMP page version for your website, mobile website, or you can have, and you can have together with AMP pages your regular mobile website. Or you can have only AMP version of your mobile website, accelerated mobile pages, and have entire mobile website in AMP. eBay example. AMP on the left looks 99% the same as a regular mobile page. So you can see, and you can actually easy create AMP version of your website with the same design, because designers can have some doubts about this, so please remember that it's possible. There are two ways how you can integrate actually AMP technology to your website. For publishers using CMS, turning the web page into AMP can be easily as installing plugin plus turn it on. You can leverage support for AMP provided by respective CMS. For example, WordPress has a plugin created by team at WordPress, and you can just install plugin and turn it on. If you prefer custom implementation, for custom HTML users, there are some of the website which actually can help you to build an AMP page, which I briefly touch upon each in a minute. So ampproject.org is the official AMP project page. By the way, guys, this is a website actually built in AMP, entire website in AMP for mobile devices and for desktop. It's actually, this website has step-by-step guide to create an AMP page. You can learn tricks such as including the image into an AMP page, plus how to change the style of the page, since you cannot integrate external CSS files into AMP. Please remember this. Next one, ampbyexample.com is where many of the AMP sample codes are stored for reference. If you're creating news article page, you can check out the demo, plus see the code to learn how they accomplish this actually. And if you like, you can just copy this code to your website and go for it. Next one is ampstar.com. Has templates that are ready to be used. They have beautiful design. You can tweak them to make your own. I personally like minimalistic templates that they have. So to use ampstar.com, you first pick a basic template, change content and styling according to your needs, actually what style you need according to your website. Test your AMP page with AMP Validator, upload this to your server, and check with Search Console AMP test tool how the page is actually rendered on Google search. All these links will be available for you in the deck. Here an example of category page on the left and product page on the right. Both pages is AMP pages. Also, you can see that organic snippets in search have AMP label. This notifies users that the selecting an AMP listing will provide a much faster loading experience for them. AMP brings three main improvements. It's actually start content prioritization. It's automatically and smartly fetch the content needed to display the page. Responsive design. The page design will be responsive by default and limited by design at the same time. AMP enforces good user experience, guys. So this forces developers actually to only include what is needed. AMP HTML is built in a custom set of HTML element, supercharged by the JavaScript library that is loaded asynchronously. Good news for designers, because AMP isn't just about fast, it's also about beautiful. It's involved beyond just static pages. We have a rich media, just like all web pages, accelerated mobile pages will load in any modern browser or app web view. AMP developers, they can use a rich and growing library of pre-built and easy-to-use web components to enable experience like image carousels and offer the ability to embed rich media objects like video or social posts, display advertising, or collect analytics. Let's look at promotions. So as you can see, we have image on the right, which actually play by themselves without interaction. In order to do this, you can use an AMP carousel with autoplay attribute. On the right, you can see autoplay attribute, which advance the slide to the next slide without any user interaction. So you can see it's very rich and you can adjust to your needs. It was Playground. Yes, good point. It's actually, remember that you can use Playground at AMP by example as any other sandbox as a testing environment for the experiments with AMP. So go experiments, try to play with the code. You will see on the right how it looks like in the end. If you're happy with this one, just copy code to your AMP page that you're creating and go for it. It was part of manual implementation. If you don't want to bother with manual implementation, you have a WordPress website. You can download this plugin, as I mentioned before, install it, and turn it on. Some of you might see this plugin recommended under their optimization opportunities tabs in your AdSense account. Remember, guys, this is important. You don't have to make your entire website AMP compliant. Start upgrading the web page progressively. Pick simple static content page first, what you have on your website, such as product pages, and then move to other type of content that you have. This way you can target highly visible pages in SEO results, which will lead to a big payoff for the website without you having a deal with pages that require advanced functionality, not yet supported by AMP, but it's coming soon. And the last one, in case you have AdWords as an advertiser for user acquisition, you can use your AMP pages as a landing pages for better user experience for acquisition. Thank you, Michael. Your turn.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so as you can see, I think some of you probably have heard of AMP a while ago. It's been on the, let's say on the market for a while. So AMP really, the key takeaway there is it's not only feasible or usable for, news content sites, for example, but it's really has a lot of nice functionalities nowadays already that you can basically, no matter what kind of site you have, if it's an e-commerce site, if it's I don't know, like a blog or a news site, whatever it is, you can really use AMP to build your entire mobile platform, really. So which is quite nice. So let's go to the next point, being monetizing with AMP. Building a nice website is good, but you might want to actually make money with it as well. So monetizing AMP pages is quite an interesting thing. And some of you probably have seen the mobile best practices hangouts in air last year. And this is actually quite similar, so that there's not much of a difference between monetizing mobile pages and monetizing AMP pages, because essentially AMP pages are the same mobile pages, except for that they are just really, really fast. So just a few things compared to non-AMP pages. Actually, ads on AMP pages yield really good results. So what we see here is two statistics that I think are quite nice. It's that 80% of publishers actually realize much higher viewability rates of their content, obviously, because it's just there really quickly. But also of the ads themselves, because the ads also load quite fast. And 90% of the publishers actually drive a higher engagement in terms of higher CTR with the ads on their AMP pages. So I think those are quite nice arguments to actually use AMP pages and monetize them. In terms of the ad formats, a lot of you might have questions about like what ad formats can I actually use? Are there any limitations? And the good news is not really. You can use the same banner ads. You can use sticky ads as you might on mobile pages. You can even use flying carpets if you want. You can use promoted content if you want. And there's actually implementations for video ads as well. So basically saying all the nice ads and creatives that you might use on your mobile pages, you can actually implement on AMP pages as well, which is should be a good argument for you to actually start with AMP pages. And also going to platforms and technologies that you can actually use when you have AMP pages. Here's a wide list of technologies that actually support AMP pages. So there shouldn't be any doubt like, okay, what am I not going to be able to use a certain technology I use now? So a lot of demand platforms and technology platforms actually, support the AMP standard nowadays. One thing that you need to be aware of when you use AMP pages and you want to monetize them is that AMP the ads in AMP must be served over HTTPS, and you need to implement the AMP ads component in the header of your AMP page in order for the actual ads to be displayed. We have an example there, which you can then check when you get the deck. I don't want to go into detail right now. And then going to the monetization best practices, and this is really almost exactly the same as you would have with regular mobile pages. One thing that you need to be aware of that you should create unique ad units for your AMP pages, simply for the reason that for the reporting reason that you want to be able to really have a clean reporting. You want to be able to compare those pages, those ads. Or ad units rather, with your traditional ad units if you still decide to have some. So this is a tip, the tip number one. And then when it comes to actual placement on the page, because the content loads really fast with AMP pages, we actually discourage people from placing ads on top of the page, because the content is really fast, but then the ad maybe might be a bit slower. So we want to avoid placing ads before the content. What we encourage you to do is actually to, as it's displayed here, to actually, like, let's say on the first viewport, to kind of tease the first ad. Maybe place it, half of it should be in the viewport, for example. Just to tease the ad, right? So that the user can see the content first, and then when the user actually starts scrolling, they will see the ads over time. So in summary, basically going from left to right, the left one, you can try it. It's not really, it says it's bad, but you can still try it. It might work for you. But actually we would, from what we see, we discourage people to do that. The better implementation would be to have a smaller banner on top, and then another bigger ad unit in the next viewport. But the best implementation, at least according to our best practices and benchmarks, is to actually tease a bigger ad unit at the bottom of the first viewport, so that the user can actually then see the content first, scroll down, and then see the ad. And overall, it's the same best practice as for mobile pages in general. You should try to implement one ad unit in every viewport, really. So that will maximize your ad revenue according to our results. Tip number 3, we really recommend you to use the following ad sizes. So it's either, according to the screen, either the large rectangle, the medium rectangle. Those are by far the best performing ad units on AMP, but also on mobile pages, really. And if you want to use smaller banners, then use the 320 by 50 or the 320 by 100. So those 4 sizes really perform the best. So yeah, define the aspect ratio and use also multi-sizes so that you can really capture all the demand that's coming in for your ad units. So yeah, so that's basically already it for the monetization piece. So really not a lot of new stuff, not a lot of rocket science here. If you saw the mobile best practices, then you probably already know that. So really not much of a difference. Use unique ad units. That's probably the only additional thing. But then the rest, try to use one ad unit in every viewport. And make sure to use the best performing ad sizes for your ad units. So now I'm going to give a quick outlook on what's next to come, right? In terms of AMP, but also our Hangouts and Air series. So a few components that we will launch in a couple of weeks, or at least this year. So this is not the final design, but this is called the date picker. So basically, you will be able to implement such a calendar, so that it might be interesting for a travel site, maybe something else for a booking site. So you can actually display a calendar so that the user can actually choose a start date and an end date, which is quite nice. What also will be possible is that that if you have a video implemented on your page and the user starts scrolling, that the video will actually dock. And will be still displayed while the user is scrolling, which I think is quite nice. And then also, if you use audio on your page, we will introduce this so-called AMP audio component, which allows for the mute button to be actually sticky. So if the user scrolls, he or she can always just mute the audio if necessary. And another thing, I hope it's displayed correctly here. Basically, we will also allow a horizontal orientation of the content in full screen. So if you have a video and the user switches to a horizontal orientation, then the video will be displayed full screen. Yeah, and in terms of, so this is basically to show you what else is to come in the near future in terms of components for AMP. But we will also go a step further, because you might have heard also of PWA, so progressive web apps, and those two can be combined quite nicely. So the next Hangouts and Air will be, so the next one is on the 6th of February to understand the better ad standard, which is something different, but equally important, really. And then on the 21st of February, we will talk about how to actually combine AMP and PWA, because both are, nice ways of creating really fast and engaging websites, but you can also combine both. And there's different strategies and different use cases depending on what you want to achieve with your website. And yeah, again, if you want to register for those Hangouts and Air, use the above link. As you did for this one. Really happy to give you more content and share our knowledge. If you have questions, and I hope you had a lot, hopefully you posted them in the live chat. And so yeah, basically this is, if you want to say something.
Guys, please, after our live stream, we will send you a feedback form. Yeah. Please share your opinion, because it helps us to improve future events for you. So maybe we can take a look for questions if you have.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you for your attention. I hope this was interesting for you, and I hope you learned something. And I also hope most certainly that you have actually asked some questions. Let me just switch to this one here. Okay. All right, so let's see what you have. You want to take the first one?
Yeah, I can take the first one. Is Nikita asking the question is actually, maybe I'm not getting it right, but AMP creates new URL, so implementing it will hurt history of the old URL or not? No, actually, you can create your AMP website and put it into separate URL, so it's not any influence to your previous history, etc. Even if you, for example, want to, of course, track via Google Analytics, I recommend to create different views. One view for regular mobile website and one separate view for AMP, just to see what results you will get. So there is no issue with this one. And of course, you need separate link for AMP, because if you do user acquisitions through AdWords or other networks, for example, you need to actually put this link into field to have to give system opportunity to grab this link and to land user to this AMP web page.
I think
Okay.
most of them are.
Yes.
So, yeah.
1 second. Okay, Sarish, next question. I wonder if I should learn coding to use AMP, because after just installing and configuring my WordPress site, I see not much difference. There is two differences actually. The first, in general, you should remember this. AMP not require huge coding, because there is nothing you need to do with backend and etc. AMP is actually just separate template for your website. That's it. So you need to know HTML, CSS. That would be more than enough. All JavaScript libraries, etc. You can just connect them just to put single line, which you can find on ampbyexample.com. In WordPress, there is you should find, as I remember, you should find actually settings to your AMP. And you will get even information how many, for example, images optimized and etc. and other things. So there's not much rocket science, I think, and you don't need to learn coding to use AMP with WordPress and other CMS, as I know. If you have any questions, please send us question. We can take it over later.
You can take the one about actual ads. So yeah, Terry is asking, I would like to know, is it against Google Ads policy to hide ads in different viewports? So no. So basically, what I meant by viewports is if the user is scrolling, and then every time there's kind of like a completely new content coming up because of the scrolling, that's what I consider a viewport, right? So it used to be the case that Google said, okay, there's a limit when it comes to the number of ads you can display. That changed, I think it was last year or maybe even the year before, and that changed to what we call ad density. So that means that on the viewport, whatever the user actually sees on their screen, there should be at least 50% of content, right? Which means basically for you, in consequences, that if you have 50% of content, the other 50% could be covered by, for example, a large rectangle ad unit or a medium rectangle. So every time you have a new viewport in place, so completely new content, half of it potentially could be covered by an ad. So that's the so-called ad density policy. So if you really want to, really go at it, you can place an ad in every ad unit and every viewport. But obviously, you should test it, right? Like different publishers perform differently. You have the possibility, but you should just test it out. Just have a look.
Okay, just to come back to Nikita questions. By hunting, I mean that this way we create double content for Google search. 2 pages with different URL and the same content. Another search engine like Yandex, for example. You shouldn't worry about this one, because Google search automatically understands that this is AMP page and this is actually a regular mobile page. In case of a user, for example, searching on a device with very slow internet, probably Google search will show to the user more higher AMP page to load it faster, because it can be loaded less than 2 seconds. So there is no issue at all. So don't worry about this one. I guess this question maybe even touching SEO optimization point, but don't worry about this one at all. It's going to be, everything would be okay. There is a question about images actually from CRT Mori. There's 2 questions, but I read them. Okay, images need to be defined, static, white and height. How do you make a responsive design with that? Adding to previous question, what is the recommended white for the screen advised by AMP for fixed? How do you define multi-sizes to match per screen which? Okay. There is few points what I would do. First, I would go to Google Analytics and check my mobile devices of my users and check the screen resolution. You can see it very easily. Then I'll pick up the biggest screen resolution and create a picture for this actually resolution image actually that you're gonna use on your website. And then within purely of HTML, you can modify this. That, for example, if screen resolution this one shows this size, if screen resolution this one show different size, and or even AMP can do this automatically instead of you. So don't worry about this one. It should be automatically covered. And responsive design is going to be just from automatically adjust to the user screen of device. 1 second. And one more question from Edward. It seems that from organic search users will be sent to pages loaded in a Google hosted frame. That's right. Wouldn't that increase bounce rate and reduce engagement with my site? Not really, because why AMP actually important? Why AMP can be very useful for a website? Because usually when user opens the website and the first touch point, if it loads very slow, your regular website, for example, user not going to wait more than 2.5, 3 seconds. He's going to switch, come back and go to another website. AMP is a way for you to actually make first impression, because it's the most important. If this page at the first impression will load very fast, then user will be ready actually to go further, even if your regular website loads really a little bit slower. So it shouldn't be a problem at all. It's not going to reduce engagement. It's gonna one question actually. It's about
horizontal. So yeah, Terry's asking, for example, if I add a horizontal ad that fits good on desktop devices but doesn't fit on mobile devices, if I had it using CSS, does it count it or not? So I just wouldn't do that. I wouldn't place a horizontal ad. I would use mobile specific ad units and place those only on AMP pages for your mobile device. Simply because, yeah, you just wanted to, I mean, a horizontal ad just wouldn't, I mean, yeah, it doesn't make sense to put it on an AMP page for mobile. So I would create a separate ad unit for your mobile device.
Yeah. So maybe you can wait 1 more minute. If there are additional questions, guys, feel free.
Yeah, we have like maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. Yeah, again, so you will basically, we will send you a questionnaire about, just asking for feedback about this Hangout. And then once you completed that, you will receive the actual deck in PDF of today's Hangout and Air. All the links work, so you can obviously try it out. And I guess as long as we're still waiting for maybe additional questions, but really, I think one of the main key takeaways from today's Hangouts is AMP is crazy fast, and it really focuses on user experience, which which Google believes should come first, and it's really easy to implement, right? Like I hope we made that clear that you don't need coding experience really, because you have this beautiful library which you can just start using and publish publishing AMP pages almost right away. You can obviously customize it if you want, and you can use your own coding skills as well. But it's really easy, and it's really you can design it quite nicely.
Yeah, from my experience, for example, I have some developer's knowledge, but I don't develop every day, and I was able to create a simple AMP page for a big e-commerce customer within 1 hour by using these websites that I mentioned to you. So feel free, guys, go learn by yourself. It's going to be very easy for you, and it's opportunity for you. Take this as an opportunity to learn something new, how to build simple templates.
Yeah.
No more questions.
So we have no more questions. Yeah. So I guess.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hope to see you upcoming webinars.
Yeah. Go register. We'll be happy to have you. To talk to you more. So yeah, thank you guys. Have a nice day, and hopefully you'll see us. We don't see you.
Exactly. Thank you.
All right. See you guys. Bye bye.
Good day.